Okay, so we are going to start with the meditation. And as I said, this might be just a little bit longer just because I've been running all day and I haven't had the chance to do a meditation. And I'll just tell you, for those that know astrology, I have Jupiter about to conjunct my K2 in the 12th house. So you can imagine, more than anything, I've been really enjoying meditation with this energy of Jupiter K2 12th house. So I'll tell you something else. My dreams have been extremely vivid. So, okay, I'm going to, some of you that don't know astrology don't know what I was talking about. Just take my word for it. It's a time when you feel like going within, when you feel like being more spiritual, and it's when your dreams become more vivid. So let's get prepared for our meditation. Put your hands on your lap, palms up, close your eyes, and we're going to take 3 deep, deep breaths. And with each and every breath, I want you to visualize white light coming into your body, either through your lungs or the top of your head or both. And after the inhale, I'm going to make you hold it for just a second or two to make sure all the light penetrates your entire body. Then release everything. Relax, release, let go. And exhale. We're going to do this 3 times. After that, we're going to focus on opening our heart center. And then we're going to bring that energy up to the third eye. And we're going to focus on connecting the heart center with the third eye so we can perceive things from love, unconditional love, but opening our sight to see clearly so that we can get the best out of this class. Okay, let's begin. Deep, deep, deep breath. Breathe in. Hold. And release. Breathe in white light. Hold. And release. Breathe in white light. Hold. And release. Now I want you to focus on your heart center, your heart chakra. Visualize your heart opening. Visualize it as warm, iridescent light, as a big, burning sun, full of love and compassion. Focus in on that energy. Feel the love, feel the energy. Now pull that energy from the heart center to the third eye, between your two eyes and your forehead. Visualize the third eye opening, bright light swirling in the third eye, open, connected to the heart, but open that vision so we can see truth, purity through unconditional love. Open that third eye. All right, slowly come back. Open your eyes. All right, so now we can start to look at our images. And remember, this is from my book. I put it all together, gosh, 30 years ago. So the pictures are kind of dated when we look at some of them, but this is, I call the book my symbols, I call it answers. But what I want you to know is when I show you these pictures, there's no such thing as a right or wrong answer. It's whatever you're getting out of it. And sometimes it can be personal, but a lot of times we're, as a collective, we're seeing it all together as something that is a message. And it's always something for us to live by for the next week. So this is giving us guidance. So here is the first image. Can y'all see it clearly? It's a graveyard. And it looks like it's one of the graveyards that the military, because they're all the same. I know there's this graveyard that I've seen like this. I'm sure it's might be somewhere in Washington or something like that, but I've seen a graveyard like this in Santa Fe that, like, you know, goes way up the hill, and there's one little stone, tombstone after another. There's more than one of those, but what does that mean to you? And there are people walking in the back there. I'm not quite sure what that means. But I mean, this can mean many things. It can mean peace. It can mean endings. It can mean rest in peace. It could be a time of death. It could be a time of surrender. So let's put it together with the next picture. And like usual, they don't make sense to me. But what does this mean? Now, when we think about a fox, what do we say? Sly as a fox, right? So this fox in this image is coming out of hiding, just peering out like it's seeing something that, it's like something's hidden. That's what I think this means. Something is hidden. So
I think that's a lynx cat because of the pointy hair on the ear.
Yeah, or a bobcat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lynx, not a fox, but the eyes. Yeah. Sorry, Joni. Keep going.
well, you know what, Madeline? Remember what I said. It's whatever it means for that person.
Yeah.
It means a link cat to you. But regardless if it's a cat or a fox, it's peering out of something and being, hidden. I kind of get it, something sneaky behind the scenes, peering out. But hey, this could be to many people that something's coming out and being revealed. Okay, that could be that because it's not hidden anymore. Its head's peering through the bushes. So something that maybe we didn't know, it doesn't even matter what animal it is peering through something where it was hidden. So remember the time I showed you guys the lions laying down and half of us thought they were dead and half of us thought they were sleeping. It's whatever the message is for you. Whoops, that's the wrong side. And how do we link this to this? Is it maybe some secrets to come out about what's beyond to the other side of life? Or is it something to come out what deals with a secret plot to kill people? I mean, that's a very negative way to look at it. But I think, it's green. People have passed. It's not like a violent act. It's beyond the grave. And to me, it's sort of like, I don't know, Pete, this is peaceful, like finding our peace after we've lived a hard life and, coming to a place of healing and understanding life. So my thoughts are, and maybe because I've got some spiritual stuff going on in my chart right now, that this could mean some information about what life is about and what takes us through our life, what gives us information beyond what this world is about. And, early this morning, I was thinking, why is this world in such crazy confusion? And it just doesn't make any sense what's going on all around the world. Here we are here to discover ourselves, to find our truths, to find our spirituality, but they've got all these crazy people out there always trying to twist things and make things a certain way so that they can remain in power, no matter what side you're talking about. It's about power. And when it's all said and done, we all come to this place, right? Which is, to me, surrender to it all. And maybe some secrets about the purpose of life could come out. Maybe I'm being way too deep and metaphysical. I'm not sure about that. But I think there's a deep message here that there is something coming out that will shed light on things that were hidden about life. And I'll have you guys take it from there. What did you see? I'm sure I'm kind of confused, to be honest with you. So help me out here. Is there any other messages that I'm completely missing with those two images? Help me out here. What do you all think?
Well, for me, I feel like what I got out of it is um, this idea of our own mortality. I think when we're younger, we just think we're immortal and life is long. And then as you get older, you realize, that you have limited time on earth, but I think it takes a lot of people. Well, I'm speaking for myself, sorry. Um, it takes a lot of awakening and really suffering to kind of wake up and realize, oh my God, I have limited time on earth and I have unlimited purpose, and trying to narrow that down to follow your own truth and your own dharma in this lifetime to make whatever difference you want in the world, because what we're all really searching for is meaning. And again, that's the consciousness feels so different when I look at those pictures. If what I'm thinking is so different from what we're really experiencing in the world with everything that is happening right now. And so that just makes it even more, what's the word? It just makes it more prominent in my life that, hey, like I have this amount of time and I want when I die to actually be at peace, because when you ask people if you get a life-changing diagnosis, what is it that they want? They don't want more money. All they want is more time to have done the things that they didn't realize that they could do because of their own limited beliefs, of their environment and all of these things. So I think that's when I see that fox, I see it as the moment like right before it's hidden and you become awake to that, like life is finite, but your soul is infinite, but the life is finite and you have many lives, but in this life, this is the only one you can feel and touch and hear and see and hug your loved ones and tell them how much you love them. So it's like, let's do what like we're here to do, and I have had so many hurdles to even get to where I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do. But that's why like I join things like this to keep me moving forward when the whole world is telling me we can move backwards very easily,
It's almost like Cranthi, it's almost like Steve Jobs. Were you here when I played that video of Steve Jobs where he gave that speech at the university and he knew that he was dying?
I wasn't, but I actually play that like it's in a recording with all these other people who spoke for my children.
Yes.
Where he says, don't like, I mean, basically it's like, don't live by anybody else's kind of prerogative, don't live life looking backwards.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I played that at one of the I made everybody watch the whole speech here in Shooting Stars, about a month or two ago. Because I said, I need some inspiration today. And that's what came across my path. So that was what did it. And it's exactly what you're talking about. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to share?
Joni, I seem to, I guess because I have several members of my family that were buried in military cemeteries. So this makes me think of war because they always do the I don't know how many gun salute it is, but it's very militaristic. And it seems to me that the cat, I see it as a lynx also. That was my first impression. And they have very keen vision, and they're able to see through things anyway, they're able to see through things very clearly. So it almost feels like to me that it's about seeing the real reasons why wars are started, that they're not started for the reasons we think. Oftentimes it's, 99% it's about gathering oil or gold or other things from other countries. So So that's kind of what I felt with that right now we're on this precipice of, so many volatile things in our world. And like you say, I think the truth that's coming out is going to make us maybe have a clear vision of why this is happening, and hopefully we can remain from doing it, in a more peaceful way.
I think you got a great point, Shanti, that this could be, and I didn't even think of it like that, war, because it is a military, graveyard. You're right. So could this mean that there's something that we don't see about to happen? And I do see, that's interesting. You said the cat has such keen vision. So, vision, we can't see it, but it's coming up. Oh my God. I did do a video of World War III, guys. And the only reason why I did that video was I saw so many lineups where the planets are as to, well, particularly Uranus. Uranus is the planet that takes 80 to 84 years to go through the zodiac. And it's back where it was during World War II and where the United States became involved in war. So maybe this is what this is trying to tell us. And either way, it's like, we can't see something. That's what I see with this. We can't see something and something's coming out. And this could be the result. That's a terrifying thought, but it's realistic. Astrologically, it's realistic as to what I'm seeing. Okay. Thank you so much. That was very, very good. That helps me see things clearly from that. Okay.
So, Joni, I just looked up the animal symbolism for the link cats,
Good.
and it says it helps us see the unseen mysteries of life.
Wow. You nailed it. Yes. That is
And as far as the first picture goes, I don't know if anybody is following the news in Bangladesh. It's my dad worked there in the embassy like sometime in the 90s.
Mhm.
So that's how I came to find out actually. But they're having huge protests and basically trying to overthrow the government. And there are like hundreds dead over this. And so as soon as I saw the first picture, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
That and they've had like some sort of an autocratic government for like the last 20 years, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know if the president is, I mean, I know the president's not dead, but like likely in exile or something. Like, so when I found out about this maybe like less than a week ago or so, and I went back and watched your weekly videos and how you were saying like, expect governments to, topple or fall this week. And I was, and but there are hundreds of innocents dead. Like
Wow.
the way I found out about it from my dad is someone he knew, their 17-year-old was shot
Oh, God.
in the midst of all this. So, and it was like, it was shocking. So that's when I started following the news. And I think the death toll is like something like 900, and on all students. It's a all student protest, not not some gang or militia or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like straight up innocent people.
Wow.
So yeah, but it also goes to show that like even no matter how small you think you are, like they were just students, but that was still enough to send the president into hiding or whatever it is that's going on with them.
Yeah. Wow. That's thank you for that information. And another thing I noticed this morning was that Taiwan is preparing for an attack. Did y'all see that this morning? Yeah, lovely, lovely world we live in, but you know, we have to be mentally prepared. I think we'll be fine, but gosh, yeah, and like there's always going to be war on this planet, no matter how evolved we get, because well, at least right now we're somewhere between leaving Kali Yuga or the end of Kali Yuga into the next, and you know, it's a dark time on Earth. That's all I'm saying. And people are not as evolved as we think they are. Let me put it that way. And a lot is about to happen with the planets. And like I said, Mars being in Taurus is detrimental. It's crossing over all these stars that are so intense. Aldebaran opposed Antares, it's all coming about now with Mars there. But not only that, I think the trigger was the Mars with Uranus that started it. And Uranus has got a lot, it's going to be in Taurus for the next 7 years. So we've got a lot to deal with in the next 7 years. So, you know, we need to really center ourselves and also pray that the best thing happens for world happiness and peace. That's one thing I can say. So anyone else want to add to what you saw in the pictures?
I just wanted to say it's interesting how you started off with 12th house for your chart, and everything in those photos and everything we're talking about is all 12th house.
That's true. Really is. Very 12th house. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. Okay, come on, guys. Do you have anything else to add to that? If you don't, well, I think we got our descriptions of what that was about. Okay, all right. So if everyone's finished with the images, which sounds like we're pretty clear about this, there's something we can't see. It could involve death, it could involve endings. But ultimately, you know, I'm the eternal optimist. I think it will ultimately lead to peace because, you know, to me, it still looks peaceful. And you know what? Once we do die, we are finally at peace. This is such a crazy planet, right? So,
I just want to add something real quick. I'm going to jump in because I just thought of something.
okay.
So the picture that you had of the cemetery, right? So that is obviously symbolic of our ancestors, right? People who fought for the country, you know what I mean? Where they're at. So really, when you see those kind of pictures, that to me is always spirit talking to us. You know what I mean? They're coming from that back, the info is coming back from the grave, right? So you know what? That's what that message is important. I didn't see the first one, but the aspect of that is, oh, the fox. Okay, interesting. I saw a fox today too in my yard. So, you know, looking over like through the hedges, right? So just keeping an eye out. But that also, when I look at that one, that's also kind of very ancestral, you know, Native American kind of picture that I'm picking up on there. You know, with that type of energy being protecting us, looking at us, being cautious, curious, right? I see that as more curiosity picture for number one. Okay, keep your curiosity up. Look at the energy that's unveiling, things being sneaky behind, that kind of thing. But that last picture is truly, I feel like the energy on the other side is really trying to prevent us from having a war. Ancestors, okay, they don't want to have people die, soldiers die anymore, that kind of thing, right? Back in the like they had back in the day. But I do think actually this week, which I've been picking up on psychically, I really think Biden's out this week. I feel like there's a Friday announcement, something's going to give with, you know, his platform. You know, we already seen, and Spirit told me to pay attention. I can't even talk anymore. You know, they had told me actually on, you know, the new moon, which was on that Sunday, to pay attention to Biden's administration, what was going to happen with Biden, right? That new moon energy was going to bring things to a head. And he stepped down to have Kamala Harris come in. But actually, the spirit told me then during that time, there'd be 3 events. So we just had in our own country, you know, the director of Secret Service just stepped down today, right? There is going to be a 3rd step down that's going to happen this week. And I can guarantee you they do everything on a Friday. It'll be by Friday. And with this, so I feel like that makes us weaker. So we're going to see that possibility of, you know what, the prime target of what could happen around the world, because who's leading? So that's one, unfortunately, what I gather. But I really feel that last picture is ancestors really trying to protect us, prevent us from what could occur.
Yeah, Kelly, you know, when I first thought about that, I did think of spirit trying to communicate with us from the other side. And I was actually thinking about that this morning, and this picture kind of proves it. So, and then that can go for us individually. Kelly's always saying this for sure. Listen to spirit. If you listen to spirit, you'll be getting all your answers, you know. So we need to still ourselves and listen to what the spirit is trying to tell us. It's always in communication with us. And we get all sorts of synchronicities all day long too, telling us what we need to pay attention to. So anyway,
yeah, synchronicity is big right now. Like their spirit is giving all types of synchronicity of everything within our lives. Okay, when you hear things twice, when you 2, 3 times, when you're getting the same symbols, when you're thinking about something, you know what I mean, and the same name comes up. Honest to God, all you got to do is just go to bed at night and say, okay, make me synchronistic. And as soon as you wake up in the next morning, all this event's going to happen, because that's a way of lending energy. So that is powerful. So start, you know, if anything, we all got to blend. We're all blending. The whole world's blending right now, which is awesome. But I think really we're so inept, this group, with everything in our skills, just really open up. If ever you're going to open up, this is the time to do it. It's pretty cool once you do.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly. That is really meaningful. I love that. And yes, we all need to ask for synchronicity. We need to ask for the universe to give us the symbols we need and the messages to guide us. And so you said there's going to be a 3rd person. What do you mean by that?
I mean, when they gave me when I was getting information, there was like 3 step downs is what I heard. So we had one, which was on that full moon when Biden passed the baton to Kamala Harris for running for president. The second one we just had today was the director of the Secret Service, right? She just stepped down. Okay, and there will be a 3rd this week, and I really think it's going to be Biden.
What do you mean?
Meaning him not he's going to step away from being president somehow.
I see. Okay, I get it.
So there'll be some form of announcement or something that will happen with him physically, mentally, as we all know, with different things. But I think he won't be called president anymore.
Okay.
Former president is what I get. And then, yeah. So I think, you know, all this right now, as we know, with the fox, like the behind the bushes, right? You know, this is like, you know, basically right now what's happening in our country is the Democratic Party has just gotten ghosted on who they can have as a candidate. Let's just look at it that way. They showed up for the date and nobody was there. So, you know, in plain terms, that's really what's going on. So that's being deceived. That's not being truthful. You know, that's not democracy in this country. So that's where, you know, that's part of our unveiling. That's part of the stuff that people are realizing, you know. So I think there's a lot of that shifting. I think that, and I said this back in January, Kamala Harris will be I got the number 7. I was like either 7 weeks, 7 months. She will be in charge. It'll be the month of 7, which would be July. And she will step up. And here we are in July. And look at one event's already happened. I think there'll be a second pattern around her.
Yeah, as I did my predictions for 2024, I said she will be president for a short time.
Yeah. So again, that's synchronistic, right? Okay, I don't know. I'm a pretty good psychic medium. You're a pretty good astrologist. You know what I mean? Like take heed, everybody. You know what I mean? We all get our information, but I really think that's a synchronistic. When more people stick their neck out and can say it, because you know what I mean, that's just what we see. But you know what? Why wouldn't those events happen? That's what I always say. Why wouldn't they happen? Of course they're going to happen. If spirit gives it to you, they will.
Okay.
And also, I want to add something. Stolly.
Hi, Dolly.
Hi. Biden is not around. I don't believe he has COVID. Like as soon as Trump has the assassination attempt, he disappeared. First, I thought like maybe like he was so afraid he didn't want to go into any rallies, you know, be in front of people because he's afraid. That's why they said he's COVID. But then nobody is questioning he's not around. He's quarantined. And right now I'm thinking like there's some health issues or something, not COVID, you know. And sometimes when people get really afraid, they, you know, some health issues can, you know, trigger because their frequency is too low. So like, I'm really thinking that I just saw a chat, somebody wrote that maybe he passed away and they are hiding it. I'm not sure he's passed away, but I kind of feel like there's something big health issue behind this.
Yeah, I agree with you in terms of his health, only because when I was looking at his chart, Saturn was stationed on his IC, which is the nadir in a chart, the lowest point. And that's a point that's like a door, an exit door to life beyond this world. In Western astrology, the 4th house is said to be the end of life. And it's not only Saturn being on it, but it's stationed there. It stood still on his IC, which is, you know, that was like shocking when I saw that. I thought, oh my God, this guy, this poor guy, you know, I can't imagine him surviving this. Plus he's in Saturn's dasha, and it's a Marika in the 7th house. He just entered that. So I mean, he's very weak. If, you know, it's just, you know, and it's really pretty sad to see the way he was walking that last day that we saw him. I mean, there is something really seriously health-wise. I can't imagine it just being COVID, but we'll see. We'll see. Everything seems to be in the fast lane right now. One event happens like right after the other. We're going to see more things. And I just, you know, if y'all like Kamala, it's fine, but I don't see her as running for president. Her chart doesn't show any promise. Yes, she has Rahu on the ascendant, which means she has a certain destiny to fulfill. And she's put in this position, and yes, she will be president. But when I look for Jupiter and all the things that you look for when you're predicting someone that wins a presidency, it's like Jupiter's in her 12th house. It's like
where is her Mars? Mars also shows elections usually very accurate with where the Mars is.
You mean the transit or natally?
Natal.
Her Mars
In Cancer.
militated in the 2nd house in Cancer.
I'm in Western astrology, so actually,
Yeah,
yes, but I'm trying to learn some Vedic too.
I don't know. I'm like, I could be wrong, but I don't know where everything's going to take us in the next.
Oh, by the way, I need to say transit, not her
Oh.
natal, sorry.
Transiting Mars is going to cross over her Rahu on the ascendant.
Oh,
coming up here pretty soon. And transiting Mars, I forgot, it's in the 12th house right now. That's why,
On her Jupiter.
how is this happening with Jupiter? I mean, I think there's something else that's gonna happen. That's all I gotta say. There's something else.
Joni,
Oh,
I'm
Joni.
originally Turkish, and some Turkish astrologists and some mediums, they certainly believe that Biden and Trump will not be at the election, and they are expecting Trump to have a heart attack.
Okay, well, Madeline said that at the last conference. What did you say, Madeline?
Well, I said there would be an assassination attempt and the elections will be delayed, but I woke up today with, and now I see your pictures, I'm bringing in the military graveyard and the cat behind the bushes. So, and I already shared this with Kelly this morning, what I think, because there's too much noise in Hollywood all of a sudden about how all of a sudden Kamala Harris has been catapulted to the forefront of the Democratic Party. So I think, this is my theory, I think that they're all getting behind her, and I think she'll be assassinated, and then they'll put Gavin Newsom in because there'll be a sympathetic cry out of the Democrat. They'll try and get a sympathetic win. Oh, our Kamala, our hero Kamala has been assassinated. What shall we do? And Nancy Pelosi will put her nephew in, Gavin Newsom, to be the Democratic candidate. And he's good looking like Kennedy because he has a great chart. And there's people sneaking around the bushes like that cat, and some kind of warning. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's just the hit I got today.
Isn't it funny how we try to really be balanced here in class, though, and we always get going into politics? I don't know how this happens. I'm trying to be balanced so everyone.
I think we're balanced, Joni. I do. But this is reality. This is what's happening in everybody's life right now. It's not just America, it's global. So I think everybody's interested in this. If we weren't, we certainly wouldn't be talking about it. But by the way, I remember a long time ago, you said it would be Newsom and Trump at the ballot box. I mean, we'll see. And Kamala would be there for a very short period of time. Kelly, you were talking about it too. A few people were. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine watching California and to see what they've done to that state, my state, where I was born and raised, that what they've done to it. I can't imagine that anybody would elect these people, but hey, you never know.
I know somebody that just met him recently, right?
Gavin Newsom.
And yeah, and absolutely charming. Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Charismatic.
Oh.
But guess what?
yeah.
The big feeling was devil inside.
You got it.
And
he's
almost like looks
gut-filled.
like, what the devil looks like in the Bible. Okay. You know what I mean? The blonde, the blue, blood, deceiving, deceitfulness, etc. That sounds gross that I'm saying that, right? But I'm just saying is that I take this person's opinion very, very strong, because they're very intuitive. So just like if he walked into a room and God forbid anybody show up in this class, right? Okay, everyone would be feeling what they feel, right? And so that's what I'm saying. I thought that was pretty interesting that I heard that the other day, because she just literally, it was like a few weeks ago. And she goes, I can see, the charisma, why people would be snowed, but inside, you know what I mean? You could just tell right away of what he's all, what his energy is. But
You guys know that the Don Jr., you know Kim Gutfeld, right? Kimberly Gutfeld. That's Gavin Newsom's ex-wife. Don Jr.'s girlfriend, fiance, is Newsom's ex-wife.
Yes.
Don't know if you
I was just thinking that, boy, could she ever tell the truth. Yeah. So
yeah.
What Marcy's saying is, and I was shocked to hear this, that woman that's dating Donald Trump's son,
Junior, yeah.
was married to Gavin Newsom for 5 years. I was
Mhm.
like, what? And then she was also married to another billionaire in between. So, yeah, and she used to be a Victoria's Secret model.
She
And
was, oh,
Her name is Kimberly Guilfoyle.
she
She
was.
does not take her eyes off of Trump ever.
Her name is Kimberly Guilfoyle. She used to be on Fox News as a broadcaster. Yeah.
Did I say Gutfeld? I'm thinking of Greg, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
Guilfoyle.
what's going, how is that tied up to Gutfield? What?
No. I was thinking, if
Oh.
I said Gutfeld, I was thinking of Greg. Yeah, no, it's Kimberly Gutfield,
Guilfoyle.
whatever,
Guilfoyle.
Guilfoyle, right? Yeah. And yeah, she was on Fox for years.
She could probably tell us some things that would reveal, be very revealing, I'm sure, but nobody's gonna do that.
Well, I'm sure the Trump family knows, that's for sure.
Yeah, all right.
They share a son.
I also don't think this is very sorry, I would have my camera on, but somehow like 2-3 years after the pandemic, I got COVID. Like that's crazy. It's back supposedly again. Like I talked to my ER friend ER doctor friend, and he said he's seeing a lot more COVID. And I don't do anything where I'm crowds of people, but I don't know. It's
So you
craziness.
you just had COVID,
I
Brenda?
just got it. Like I just tested positive yesterday, and like I don't know where I would have got it from. Like I'm not out and about. I still kind of, because I have a little baby, like I don't really put I don't know. Maybe my husband, who knows? But
Do you feel bad?
I mean, I felt a little bad. I've actually had, I got COVID in July of 2020. I was fine. I was like working out, and then I was short of breath, and I was like, this is odd because I'm never short of breath. And that's when I had COVID. I had COVID when I was pregnant this last time, and now I have COVID again.
Wow. Yeah,
my,
that's
my mother got COVID like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's like crazy. I don't
It's
know.
like, I keep hearing it. It's odd.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
that's why I was like, when Joe Biden said he had COVID, I was like, he's lying. But then I got COVID. I was like, that was karma. I should just keep my mouth shut. But what I was saying is, I feel like all of this it's very non-intent. It's very intentional. I don't think we're here because he just happened to have all these issues. Like he's had all these issues. I think it was just done in a way that now the democratic process is like bifurcated, and like you don't need 14 million people to vote for you. You just need 1,900, and she got them. So I think this was all planned. And that, because I was watching, like, there's other candidates like Marianne Williamson and all these other people who could have potentially put their, even if they have no chance of winning, it's still America. Like you should be able to do that. So that's the part that I find very interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, reality is this, is that look at the aspect of, all right, common sense, like in a business transaction, right? Okay, they didn't want to lose their coffers, right? If that 240 million that kept the Democratic Party, okay, they got to keep it in there, right? If they didn't have Kamala come in, that the Democratic Party would lose that, all right? With a new candidate would come in with 32 million. So of course, common sense would be, yes, of course they're going to have her come, you know what I mean? Have her be a part of it, right? They have to. Who else would they select with that? So it's all like planned events. But right when COVID happened, right? When he was announced COVID, right? I was like, oh, red flag. There's no way he has COVID. No way. That's not true. That's all illusion, right? And then you know what? We go into then what went on with her, not the announcement. Again, another illusion, right? It's like, sometimes we got to wake up and say, okay, we're not going to take our stupid pills today. We're going to be very aware to realize that, you know what, this is why this is all coming up towards us, so we can realize the events of planning accordingly. So will there be some issues that will come up, and things are going to be shown, thank God, right? Because that way we are able to, figure out who's who, what's what, why do we don't want to blend with that anymore, and that's awareness. It's not good. It's just be aware. If anything, my guides keep saying to everybody, be aware, be aware, be aware. Pay attention to your own world, what's going on. Look to what's going on personally, what's going on with business, what's going on with all of it, because so much of this illusionary behavior, the magic tricks being done, what is the bunny going to hop out of the hat, or what, you know what I mean? So this is that big time. And there's so much more of it coming. So it's important that we all just kind of stay on guard, but you know what? Be cautious. It's like almost like I look at all this stuff right now when I do a missing persons case, right? It's like the who, what, when, where, how, the press release, psychic press release I use, or that's a press release in general. Ask those questions with everything. And your first instinct, whatever spirit tells you, your gut, it's right.
I agree. We got to listen to that first impulse. Okay, so I have people that say they're raising their hand. Joe, are you able to talk?
Yeah, I think Sandra had her hand up first, so I'll just go after her.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sandra, did you want to?
Sandra, unmute yourself. We want to hear what you have to say. Here.
Joe, go ahead.
Okay, sure. So back to the presidential thing, just for half a second. So I've been applying more of the work that I do on kind of alternative data sources, and I might mention this before, but the betting odds for President Trump winning the 2024 US presidency look like they're about to plummet for whatever reason. It's not to say that he can't win, but the odds of him winning right now are close to, what is it? It says 58.4%. For context, Harris is 32.9. It says his odds are about to drop to maybe like mid to high 30s or 40s. So I don't know. Take that for what you will. The only kind of conclusion I can draw from that is that something happens that maybe increases the chances that the election is not held this year. Whether that's the president's wartime, and I'm sure people have kind of are aware of those scenarios, delaying the election because of a new war or some sort of state of emergency. But yeah, it looks pretty clear that Trump's odds are going to go down. Not to say that he can't win, but yeah, looks like something's gonna happen pretty soon, which might be the most obvious thing that anyone said. And I think that's pretty clear, but it looks very imminent.
Wow. Okay. So you're basing this on what, Joe? I don't quite understand.
Yeah, it's really difficult to and I'm happy to show sort of samples. This is not really my time to do that. Obviously, this is a different forum, but I use something called fractal geometry, which is just the analysis of repeating patterns, which is a derivative of cycles, which, and I mentioned before, I worked with the Foundation for the Study of Cycles. And I found that organization because I started doing my own work on fractals. And then I actually came to your group because a few of the folks in the cycles group practiced astrology to help with their timing and prediction in markets. And I found your call on COVID, and I went back and double checked, and then your bottom call at late March, and I just thought that was pretty incredible. But I was aware of the astrology going into the COVID crash, among a lot of other sort of historic events. So yeah, that's why I'm here. But no, yeah, fractal geometry is not like a well understood. It's not even a formal study. It's just my story won't make a lot of sense, and I won't tell it right now. But I'm fairly confident that President Trump's odds of being the 2024 U.S. president will plummet in the next week or so. It's really unclear why. I feel like you'd have a pretty good idea, but I did posit kind of Taiwan could be a potential scenario, but who knows really.
Okay, that makes sense, because I've been looking at Trump's chart in terms of his dashas and such. And he's in a bad dasha. I think it's Jupiter, I can't remember, K2, that's what it is. And he's in that till about the third week of September. And it's really
Right.
bad. Of course, you know, someone almost killed him. Yeah. But when he goes into Jupiter Venus, it all changes the third week of September in favor of him. But right now he's in a bad cycle. It's not good. So it's like I said, it's going to be bad for him almost till the time of the election. Yeah.
No, they're trying to get rid of them. They're gonna try.
Yeah. Okay. So Sandra, do you want to say something? I asked her to. Okay.
You want to type it, Sandra? She must not be there. It's okay.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and look at the charts now. Let me share my screen and we'll see, because it's really interesting. The chart I have for the start of this class. I think you guys will be very interested to see the ascendant right here is exactly conjunct K2. That almost makes me think about that cat fox peering out of the bushes. There's something we can't see. K2 is beyond this world. I mean, that's just uncanny. It's the same exact degree, the south node of the moon. And that just means there's something deeply hidden and something deeply beyond this world happening, if I could say that. Definitely beyond this world happening. And we have Jupiter in a trinal aspect. Oh, and one thing I wanted to say as well is, you know, talking about the pictures in spirit. I keep having all these vivid dreams again about people that have passed on, like my parents and my, you know, things like that. And whenever that happens, that means something big's about to happen on planet Earth every time. And I know we've talked about this before because this has happened to me right before Kelly and I talked about it. Right before the attack on Israel, I kept having all these dreams of my parents. It's almost like I have dreams of people on the other side whenever there's a big change about to hit planet Earth, because it's their message of saying, look, be prepared, something's about to happen. And there is. I mean, Mars is still early in Taurus. It hadn't even come to the degrees of morphic stars that are treacherous. And another thing, and I did a video about this, it's not going to come out this week, it's going to come out next week because I have so many videos that are backed up. You know, I have to do one on the Olympics, one on, you know, what's the other one? Oh, on JD Vance, because I have his birth time. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Looking at where these planets are, and thinking about the spirit energy that's coming back as a warning, something's about to happen very, very soon. And, you know, we're talking about all these possibilities. It's crazy. So, oh, I know that special degree marking. You'll see that video. It's going to come out the week after this. Is it next week? No, maybe the week after that. But anyway, it is that I have found that this degree, whenever planets come to 23, 24 degrees of Taurus, that always these major world events happen. And Saturn was like 21 degrees on September 11th, but Jupiter was 23 degrees with, I think, the bombing of Pearl Harbor Uranus was 23 degrees Taurus during the bombing of Hiroshima, and the attack on Tiananmen Square in China. Jupiter was 23 degrees of Taurus. Jupiter's going to be 23 degrees of Taurus next week. Starting in August, we're going to see some kind of war attack somewhere. That's what I see. So get ready. And here's the thing, when Jupiter comes 23, 24 degrees, Saturn is squaring it. So it's building up to that degree mark. And maybe I should get that video out sooner than next week, because this is crazy. All the cyclic patterns I keep seeing. So aside from who our government leaders are, something big is happening. All right, that's even bigger than that. So I want everyone to be mentally, emotionally, spiritually prepared for what's about to come down. Okay. All right. So, yeah. And when the moon starts to align with all that, that's a big trigger. So, I think I saw a time when the moon would go into Scorpio, but that would be all the way probably mid-August, where it's going to align with all of that. So we'll see. Anyone see? I just think this is so interesting. There's so much spiritual information. And this chart tells me all of you asked to be things to be revealed to you, and you will get the answers. You know, every single person here in this class has that power. So ask for some signs, some symbols. Kelly's so big with that. I'll never forget. I read her book about that. And one time I needed an answer from my father, and it just came to me. I said, that I see the name Marion. I just chose that because that was the city my father was born in Ohio. And I was on this trip and I said, I need this answer before I finish this trip. And right as I was on this trip and getting on the plane to leave, the woman who took my ticket, I saw her name tag. It was Marion. So I got my answer, because in my mind, the answer was, give me the answer to whether this is true or not. And if it's true, I will see the name Marion before this trip is over. I can't believe it made me wait to the very last second, though. What's that all about, Kelly?
You know, it's funny. It's like, Spirit has a sense of humor. They always do, right? Our past loved ones, they just do. You know what I mean? And my hunch would be your dad was probably a jokester anyways, right? You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? He had that kind of sense to him. So of course he'd fool around a little bit, right? With that. And you know what? It's interesting. Like when we look at Spirit always gives me signs and symbols, right? And I just got to share this too, just because we're chatting about all what's happened this week. So in my information or download that I was getting last week, I kept seeing that, and I shared this with Joni, but I'll share it with you guys. I was being told that actually we were going to have this. I was seeing these canisters, right? And these canisters, the canisters when you go into the bank and you put them up, when you do the drive-through and the money transaction goes up, right? And then they send it back to you. But in this vision they kept giving me, it was like the money wasn't coming down. And I was like, there's going to be an event on the 18th in the middle of the night that everyone's going to wake up to. Okay. And this is how this is going to fit. And I'm like, oh my God, can you just give me the answers? Why do you have to give me these canisters? And so that's what happened at 1 o'clock. When was that breach happened? And you know what? And right when that happened, okay, not knowing who, what, when, whatever, I heard Russia interference. And so who was the former CEO of crowdfunding or CrowdStrike or who that was? He was Russian. All right. He was the former CEO of that company. Then I'm like, okay, this is nefarious. This isn't what they're trying to say. This is exactly what happened. There's something else behind this, right? And then you know what happened on that day? There was people who couldn't get their money from the banks in parts of the country. And then I saw actually during that vision, there would be ports that would be affected. Yep, there was ports there. And Joni and I had talked, we chatted about this. I said, and you said airlines, and I agreed there would be airlines affected by an event occurring. Sure enough, all of that happened. People were trying to go to Starbucks, couldn't get their coffees, right? Because everything was shut down. You know, that's what what they gave me. You know what? And then it was really interesting. I had Madeline kind of ping in on Washington, D.C., because I got this time on that day at 3:37 on the 18th, or 3:30 really on that date they gave me. So I said, do this chart and see what we can pick up. And you know what was very interesting is that the community was going to be hit. There was also that day, there was also that event of, there was actually shootings that occurred that day. A toddler died, in a little walk from the preschool. Okay, you know what? But there was a lot of, so as we're doing this, right? Doing our bits, communicating on Zoom, her and I. Again, we pay attention to evidence, always information. What happens? Biden, I looked down my phone, Biden gets COVID. During that moment. Has to be, not going back to Washington, D.C. I'm like, there is something going on, okay? They're not bringing him back there, could be for a reason, all right? As we're doing this, and then what do we see in the chart? Foreign interferences, all right? And that, I was like, okay, wake up. This is all pretend. This is not what's going on. I'm in the middle of spirit doing this reading, figuring this out. We're seeing confirmation in this chart. You know what? This is, again, that psychic press release we do, right? The intuition part, just like you do statistics, Joe, or the things that you put together. You got to use that instinct to get it. So this is the same component. So you have to be very, very careful, because part of that was what I was picking up. As I told, it's supply chain issues. So be aware of that. So that was what a big part of that was, with the canister going up and not coming down. Okay, we can't give you your money. We couldn't give you your money. Banks could be affected. It did happen. So that was about as profound as you can get, with Spirit giving me information of the timing and the timings and the dates and and the days that there's going to happen. And so, like, we looked at that first picture, our ancestors are trying to help us. We are very foolish if we do not call our ancestors in to assist. So please do. That's a gigantic form of prayer in essence, because our in spirit, our loved ones always want to assist us. Just like Joni needed a message from her dad. She gave him a symbol, the name Marion. What happened? He gave it to her. It made her feel like he was just having a great conversation with her. He confirmed exactly whatever question she had. So we have to pay really a lot of attention to the next few weeks that coming up. And yeah, I think it's going to get a little dicey, a lot of dicey, actually, sadly. But that doesn't mean that we stay in fear. We just have to stay centered and just be like, okay, out with the old and with the new, and go forward.
Thank you. Anyone else want to say anything else?
And Joni, I think Mars is conjuncting Jupiter at that degree you mentioned.
It is. You're right. As a matter of fact, when they conjoin, they're going to be at 22 degrees. And then the day after that, Mars goes to 23. You're absolutely 100% right. Good call. And I wrote about that in my newsletter. Okay. So if y'all are getting my newsletter, you'll see that. But that's when I think some big attack of some sort is going to happen.
And remember, Joni, the eclipse degree in April was at 25 degrees. So that's close.
I know. I thought about that. And I thought about all the 25 degrees, like in the United States chart, Saturn in the 10th house is 24 degrees. And that eclipse hit it, which means we're going to lose our leader, or a big change or transition is about to take place with the United States leader, because that Saturn's in the 10th house. and the eclipse hit it. So it's just fascinating. Thank you.
Hi, Joni.
Yes.
Hello. This is Sandra. I'd like to say that I think that the pictures you showed really showed exactly what's going to happen. That it could be the Arlington National Cemetery, that Biden will pass away and be buried there, and then that would explain Kamala being president for a short time. I'm having eye surgery on Thursday. My vision is very bad. I didn't see the cemetery until you pointed out what it was. I saw blue and green. I don't know the country's flags. I'm thinking maybe where war will break out or be connected to is a flag with blue and green of some foreign country.
Interesting. Does anybody know what country's flag is blue and green? I don't, but
I'd have to Google.
I looked, and like it's parts of Russia I saw, but there was quite a few. So I don't want to call out just one, but there were parts of in that area of the world. That's I'm not saying it was Russia. I'm just saying it's over there.
Yeah. Well, Sandra, thank you. That is so valid about it being, actually the cemetery in Washington. I mean, this could be literal. Okay. That's
it.
Good point. Thank you. I'm glad you spoke up. So
Does Vedic, I'm studied some Western astrology, and I met you in Chicago at an NCGR conference along with your husband, the group from Connecticut. And I'm wondering, what about the Vedic astrology? Do they look at the void of course moons?
No, because the planets are in a different position than they are in Western. So if it's void of course, the whole zodiac's in different degrees.
Oh, that's right. The signs are different. Yeah, like 23 degrees difference.
But I know exactly what you're talking about with a void of course moon. Remember, I used to do Western astrology, and I used to find it really, really worked. And I would always, this is silly, but I would always avoid going shopping when the moon was void of course, because I noticed anything that I ever bought when the moon was void of course, I never wore it. It was like I would buy things and they were terrible. I had to take them back or something didn't work out. I know that's kind of silly, but it was proof. And if you guys don't know what a void of course moon is, it's when the moon is about to change signs and it doesn't make any aspects to any of the planets before it does change signs. And I found it really worked well. And I noted that you said that during the presidential coronation, what is it when on the 20th of what is it called?
January.
The what?
20th of January.
Inauguration. Inauguration.
Thank you. I couldn't think of that word. But the inauguration, I did the chart for that and it was horrible. I'm really in shock that Biden has remained as president this long with the way the inauguration chart looked. But then again, that was right around January 6th, and there was the Uranus conjunct Mars exactly in that chart, exactly. So, and I saw all sorts of things that represented endings and, not moving forward. I think it had to do with Pluto. But one way or another, whether you're looking at it in accordance to the void of course moon or just reading the chart, it says he wasn't going to finish his term. So Kamala will be president for whatever it takes till the time of the election, probably. And her chart doesn't have anything strong in it. So I think somebody else is going to be put in her place to run for president. And I mean, I don't know Michelle Obama's chart, but Gavin Newsom's is so friggin' strong. I mean, he's got to be the one because his chart is like as strong as Trump's is strong. And I get them running neck and neck till election time, unless there's something like everyone's talking about that's going to cancel the elections. I mean, that's a possibility too. But one thing I do see for sure, absolutely 100%, is that the United States is going to be torn apart from this election. And I have different opinions on who, if, you know, whoever wins, it's going to be the worst case scenario for tearing the country apart. So I don't know if that means the Democrats win there and the Republicans are going to tear it apart, or the other way around. I'm not clear, but I know this is what we're looking at. We're looking at that happening after election. December, that this country is going to be torn apart. So what do y'all say about that?
Well,
You
look what
also
they
said,
did to the look what they did to the J6ers who tried to peacefully protest. I'm not talking about the ones who broke in and that, but I am talking about even just walking through peacefully and all of that. They put them all in jail.
Yeah.
So they scared the death. I mean, they scared the death out of everybody
Yeah.
to use their voice, to say a word. That's why you have so many conservatives that are afraid to speak out. It's really sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well,
Joni,
They're
Uh,
still doing.
when the eclipse happened and crosses on Texas on the 8th and the before the one October, I'm from Istanbul, Turkey, and it happened when Ottomans conquered Istanbul, and that was the end of Roman Empire.
wow. So what happened in Turkey that
So when Ottomans conquered Istanbul, at the Ottoman times, the cross eclipse happened on Istanbul. So the same cross occurred on the US with the eclipses.
Right where I'm go ahead. Sandra, we can't hear you.
oh, I'm wondering if we get into a war, I can't imagine anything stopping an election. Could it be that the war would break out with the US right before the election, and that would cause the election not to occur?
Yeah, that's true. That you know, I went and researched this, and I looked up martial law, and they said martial law, if you Google it, it actually cannot take place, and it never has happened before, but it cannot take place. I forgot what I read that said why it couldn't, but you know, everyone's thinking it's not going to happen. But when I Googled it, it said the elections will go on no matter what. And I think, you know, whoever comes into power, they're going to say the other person cheated, and they're going to go crazy.
Some strategists expect a civil war in the US.
Yeah, I think that's true. Definitely think it's true. Okay.
Maybe Texas will secede.
Well, you know, they've said that before, but it's very, 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 very unlikely. So, anyone else want to add anything? We're almost out of time here.
Yeah, Joni, I just have one question about something that I'm seeing. So all of the current, and there's been some parallels drawn to this before on social media about how 2024 is replicating some of the events from 2020. All of my work is like, and it's not just like one coincidental chart. You know, all of the bigger indices, bigger stocks, they're all replicating their price action from 2020 into the COVID run up and then subsequent crash. And that's kind of where I'm coming to the conclusion that whatever is about to happen is going to be on the scale of COVID. It doesn't need to be lockdowns. There doesn't need to be any of those things necessarily. But the market impact is on the scale, if not greater than COVID. I'm wondering if you see any similarities between 2020 astrologically and today.
If I see what astrologically?
Any similarities between 2024 and 2020?
Yeah.
Just because all my chart patterns are repeating,
Okay.
you would be amazed how many are repeating almost exactly, and no one in the market, I guess, without sort of the work that I have, can really see it. But it's really frightening how it's replicating.
Well, here's
the run up into COVID.
What I see, and I could be wrong, but you know, it was around sometime in March where the stock market went way down and it came right back up in one day. Okay. Almost in 24 hours. And I told everyone to invest, and I invested a ton.
Yeah, it was a great call.
Okay. Yeah. I invested, I made a ton of money on that day, but I see that happening again. I see it happening again. It's not going to stay down. And so to all of you out there, if it crashes one day, invest. Just invest in the stocks that are blue chip that won't ever go away, because it's going to come back. And here's where I think it will come back. It may take a little bit longer, but when Jupiter goes into Cancer, which is going to be 2020, the end of 2025 into 2026, it's I think there's going to be a comeback. I don't think we're going to be down that long from all of this. So don't think it's the end of the world or gloom and doom, but we are going to have a big reset and we need it. Okay.
Joni, are you expecting another pandemic?
It looked like it could happen by the fact that K2 is in Virgo, but I think they're gonna try to pull it, but I don't think people are gonna pay attention because, you know, people are just not gonna believe it or go for it. But there is something coming out of Japan because Craig Hamilton, I don't know how many saw that interview with him and I together. He said he saw a dark cloud over Japan, and I had previously, before he said that, saw really bad things happening to Japan, and I thought it could be another pandemic, and so I Googled it, and they said there's some kind of virus or something coming out of Japan right now. Now, Madeline told me about some guy that said Portland's going to fall in the water and Japan's going to sink. I don't think that's going to happen, Madeline, but
just reverse angles where the earthquake is in the west, but it sends the wave and creates flooding in or tsunamis in Japan.
That's definitely possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah. So we'll see, guys, but yeah. We've got a lot going on here. Here is what I want to leave everyone with. Please do your prayer work and say, may the best thing happen for our highest good, happen to our planet Earth to heal it, please. And the reason why I put it in that context is we may not know what the best thing is for our planet. We may think we know, but leave it up to the divine to make that decision. we may think this person in power or that person or this country or that. We could be wrong, you know, just leave it up to the divine. And then sometimes some bad things need to happen to who we might think are good in order to be the healing that we need. So do not try to control situations. Always leave it up to the divine. And so my prayer is, may the best thing happen to heal and bring our world together. I don't know what it is, but divine force, the light of all good things in life, please help this planet now. But you be the decision maker as to what the best thing is for this world. I surrender. So that's what my prayer is, and I hope your prayer will be along the same lines. Don't try to control things or people ever. Always leave it up to the divine to give what is best for us all, because we don't know. All right. So I want to leave everybody with that thought. I'm going to, I've got 30 minutes before my next class, Ask Your Astrologer. I'll be here to answer any astrological questions you might have. So we may carry on with some similar things in the next class, but I've got to go get some lunch and then we'll continue on with the next class. Okay, everybody. Thank you all for being here. This was fascinating.
Thank you so much.
Okay. All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.